This is the Easy Motion Evo Cross, and it builds on a lot of what the Neo Cross from 2014 did right. This is a 2015 model, brand new, and again, so many things are similar, and that's a good thing. This was a very popular bike for Easy Motion. The first thing you notice is that it looks great. It looks like a regular bike. It's very stealth, which is nice, you know, depending on where you live. Bike's not going to draw a lot of attention, and it's also got a lot of gears for actual pedaling, like a normal bike. There are actually 24 speeds on this, uses the Shimano Alivio component group back here, derailleur, and then Shimano Altus in the front. Really easy to use, just like any bike. You've got triggers on the left here, triggers on the right, very clean cockpit. And one of the things I love about the cockpit is this removable display panel. So you can imagine parking this at a rack, and that's what it would look like. Like, people might not even really know what's going on. The fact that you've got like a little extra power in your back pocket there. So the tires on this, really nice, kind of hybrid, fairly narrow, so they're not going to give you a whole lot of like extra cushion, but you do have this nice suspension shock. It's just an SR Sun Tour, real basic, though it does have lockout. Got 63 millimeters of travel, so, you know, not tons, but enough to smooth things out, you know, if you're cruising around town. And maybe even if you took this on like a packed dirt path or something on your way to work or to the grocery store, it would feel all right. Anyway, the tires on this are 700 by 38C, so 700, that's like 28 inch, really wide, basically like a city bike or road bike. Quick release in the front, and there's actually a really cool quick release feature in the back now that they've got. You can see this little plastic thing you pull out like that, and then you can rotate it. So you can imagine I could crank this back or forward, and then I can kind of reset it and crank again. So you could actually use this system, which exists on both sides, to do maintenance on the trail. If you were carrying a spare tube and you got a flat, you could just quick release, and there's kind of a motor connection point right here, so the whole thing comes off fairly simply, which is great. The tires also have this nice reflective sidewall, which is great for safety, and just a good idea. You know, if you're out on the commuting in the evenings or in the mornings, might want to add some lights or something. So it's one of the things it doesn't have is lights, but it does have this sort of threaded boss system here in the back, so you could add a rack. Or you could add some fenders on this, including on the front. There's these nice mounting points right here, and that's just going to give this bike a little bit more utility. You can imagine carrying like a saddlebag or panniers or something like this, and you can pick them yourself, and you know, it's black, so easy to match. This bike does come in two sizes, which is another cool feature. It's 20 inch, which is what I'm riding right now, medium, or 22 inch frame. Pretty standard, and I like this kind of step down. You know, it's still a high step bike, but it's a little bit lower, so if you need to hop off at a light or something like that, it's not going to be a problem. And I was mentioning the front wheel here earlier. I should point out that this has great hydraulic disc brakes by Tektro, and they've even got like a motor cutoff switch built right in, so as soon as you activate that, the motor will cut, which is just a good safety feature, especially in pedal assist. And on the front, we've got a 180 millimeter rotor, and on the back, 160. So keep that in mind if you ever have to replace the rotors. A quality kickstand there, adjustable length, decent aluminum alloy, you know, stiff pedals there, Shimano cranks, and kind of a, you know, standard saddle, but these cool ergo grips. They feel nice and soft, which I like. They don't have lockers though, so you know, if you're really bearing down, they can kind of twist over time. But again, for around town in the city, it works out pretty well. This bike weighs about 52.5 pounds. The battery is about 5.5 pounds. So if you needed to, you know, really take off some of the weight because you were trying to hang this off the back of your car or a bus rack or something, you could just pop that battery off and shave off 5.5 pounds right there. Possibly take off the wheels too. The motor probably weighs like 9 pounds, and so taking those off would further reduce the weight. And with the new quick release system, that's really cool, easy to do. Also for service, another area they've improved is that the motor cable for power comes out like right here inside the dropouts, and so it's actually protected by this quick release lever. Before, the cable came out like a lot further. It came out like right here. So if the bike tipped or something, it was a lot easier to damage. So they're really just refining the little things on this bike and making it even better. And again, it was already a popular bike. But the biggest change from the Neo series to this new Evo series is the battery design. On the Evo series, you had to take the battery pack completely off the bike every time you wanted to charge it. And that was kind of a hassle, frankly. I store my bike inside, and that's kind of just for safety purposes. You know, you're spending a lot of money. This is about a $3,000 bike, by the way. So, you know, I just don't want to leave it outside. So I'm already bringing it inside, and I had to take the battery off. It would have been nice just to plug it straight in, and that's what this bike does. It offers a charging port right here, so you don't have to take the battery off if you don't want to. Of course, if you do want to, it's still possible. It's locking for safety so that no one's going to steal your battery too easy. Completely integrated into the down tube like that. That's really one of the key factors of this bike, is the aesthetic and also the balance. You're bringing some of that weight forward instead of having a really, you know, a rack or something that puts it all at the rear. So this is what the battery looks like on the inside. 36 volts, 11.6 amp hours. The old batteries were like 9 amp hours, so you're getting an extension in terms of range here, overall capacity. There's the charging port, and it's got this neat like LED quick readout. There we go. So you can see this like 4 out of 5 dots. It's telling me that this is pretty well charged. It's pretty awesome, you know. They've just done another nice little refinement. Pretty easy to put on. I'm just doing this with one hand here. And there we go. Look at that. Not too bad. It locks and kind of pulls it in. Perfect. So let's talk about the rest of the drive system here. This is a 350 watt geared rear hub motor by Dapu. They've painted it so it kind of matches the Easy Motion brand. It's black, blends in. That's all part of the stealth stuff I was talking about. Just beautiful. Being geared, it means it doesn't have to be quite as heavy or large to give you that same power output. So 350 watt nominal is pretty solid. You know, a lot of people are like 350, and they get on it, they're like, yeah, that was solid. So I would echo that. And here is the way that it measures your pedaling input. This is a TMM4 torque sensor. And it also has throttle mode, so that's really cool. You can operate this bike without pedaling if you want, and that can be handy if you've got a rack full of stuff, or you're going through a pedal, or you're just tired. You can use the throttle. So to activate this bike, you press the power button on the display panel. It kind of comes to life. It is backlit. You've got your speedometer here, and kind of like almost like a car looking kind of thing. Battery indicator, so again 4 out of 5 dots, and your odometer right there. Let's see here, and you can actually kind of change through here and look at different like your top speed, your trip distance, your total distance. Kind of cool by pressing that power button. And then of course the up and down, which lets you go from no assist, which is throttle mode, up to eco, which has been improved on their new bikes. In the past, eco mode, a lot of people said, hey, it feels like powerful. Like, I want something that's just gentle for going slow or going in crowds, and they've improved that. So eco mode's great. Standard, sport, and boost. And of course, the higher you go with power output, the shorter distance you're going to be able to ride, and you know, the faster you're going to use your battery. So I tend to ride on, you know, like standard or eco sometimes, but again, in these modes you can't use the throttle. So coming back here to no assist, I'm just going to hop on and give you a quick overview. Let you see the motor in action. Okay, there we go. I'm just pedaling like normal so far. Now I'm gonna twist that throttle. There we go. Cool. There we go, and you can get up to just about 20 miles per hour doing that. Or we can go into assist. So now I'm going to arrow up to turbo, and you can see that in action. Boost. Okay, here we go. And you might notice the motor continues to power me even when I've stopped pedaling. It's a little bit more delayed than some systems that I've tried. And the upside is that you don't get this weird bobbing effect, like like as you pedal. It's not that sensitive. That might be called surge. You don't get that on this system. It feels smooth, but it doesn't cut out as quickly. And that's where these handy brake levers come in. If you want it to cut out, you just activate them. So I'll demo that. I pressed the brake lever and it immediately cut out. So that's very cool. That's the Easy Motion Evo Cross for 2015. For the full written review on this and other Easy Motion bikes, I'll see you back at electricbikereview.com.